How can something so unoriginal be so good? Let's find out. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Jose here, welcoming you to, yes, you got another episode of Amazing Worlds, where today I am going to be reviewing The Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne. Okay, so what have we got with The Faithful and the Fallen series? What we've got is chunky. It's great. So it's a tetralogy, I suppose, a 4-book series. Starts with Malice, and book 2, Valor, book 3, Ruin, and book 4, Wrath, I think. Thank you. Like I said, how can something so unoriginal be so good? Because this book series is really tropey. I mean, you could let's tick them out, shall we? We've got a prophecy, tick. We have the chosen one, tick. We have an evil lord, tick. Fight between good and evil, tick. Magical mystical items, tick. Actually 7 of them, but there you go. A quest to find those items, tick. The reluctant hero, tick. The love relationship, tick. And the hero and his wolf companion, tick, because we've seen that in the Farseer trilogy, we've seen that in A Song of Ice and Fire, we've seen that in many other places. I mean, it's so tropey that actually Dungeons and Dragons, the role-playing game, has got a character with a wolf, a wolf companion type thing. It's so cliche. So highly unoriginal. But what makes it so good then? And I think is basically, it's even the story is an original. It's classic hero's journey. All right, okay, classic hero's journey. Reluctant hero, things get bad before they get better. It is what it is. So what makes it so good? I think character and plot. It is very well executed. It is the kind of series I would recommend. I would recommend to anyone that maybe wants to dip their toes into fantasy, never any fantasy. Highly recommendable, very enjoyable. I think the enjoyment factor is really high there. Okay, maybe originality pretty low, enjoyment up there. The best series I've read in the last 2 years or so. And it starts great. It starts fantastic. I'm going to check my notes here, but book 1, it's got a great style. There's lots of action in the first 200 pages. It is a bit demanding of the reader. There's a barrage of names being thrown at you. Everyone's got a name. Every character. And you have to try to keep track of it. Okay, so it's a little bit demanding. And I was grateful by book 2 that you actually get like a 9-page summary of the main characters of the story according to faction or which side they're on or what geographical location. So that's great. The action takes place in this part of the world called the Banished Lands, which is split into different kingdoms, and you get a sense of history. Banished Lands used to be populated by giants before all the humans arrived, and there was the scouring, they call it, like a big fight when the humans routed the giants and sort of pushed them away in little corners of the world. But there's a sense of a greater world that it's only hinted at. There's a bit of history that is referenced through all the 4 books. You've got all the political intriguing between the different kingdoms. There is betrayal. I wouldn't say necessarily that there are sort of morally grey characters. I think it's pretty clear who are the good guys, who are the bad guys. But there are good guys acting on the bad side due to being lied to or not being able to see clearly the wood from the trees, being misled or making wrong choices and sticking to those wrong choices because instead of backing down and changing your mind, they just pushed forward double down on their decision. And you know, book one ends up with everything going to pot. Everything's gone to pot, like really. And then we've got book two, which is kind of, it just advances the plot. It's kind of, even though it's book 2 out of 4, it's got that sort of middle book syndrome that I haven't got many notes taken on it. The only gripe I've got with book 2 is there's a bit of like shooting flaming arrows, like how quickly they light up an arrow and they shoot the flaming arrow. But I don't know anything about war reenactment or anything like that. I could be very wrong here. I just found it a little bit hard to believe. But I think I've read somewhere, I mean, looking at the guy, he looks like he knows what he's talking about. It's the fight scenes, the battle scenes feel pretty real. I think John Gwynne writes the best battles I've read in fantasy. He seems to know what he's talking about. And I think I read somewhere that he does kind of real life reenactment type thing. I could be wrong. I'm surprised this guy doesn't have a Wikipedia page. I don't understand. Because the books are good and he's got certainly a following, so I don't get it. But I think the way he describes battles and fights is really good. The way he describes the treatment of wounds, he seems to have some sort of knowledge, I suppose, of that sort of thing, which I haven't seen or haven't read in any other fantasy series. I think that's a positive, that's a plus there. Book 3 ramps up the epicness, epicity, the epic goes up in book 3. And also, this is where the blood and gore comes out. I mean, I lost track of the number of times that intestines got pulled out of stomachs, knives through the eye, arrows through the eye, everything went through the eye in book 3. It was just eye. And then you've got the battle in Graham's Hold. It's epic. It's great battle, kind of Helm's Deep type, super epic battle. The criticism I will level up book 3, there's a couple of characters that share like a very similar background story, and you get kind of a little bit lost. There are so many kingdoms, there are so many wannabe kings, there are so many dethroned kings, there are so many children who are meant to be king but cannot be because they're not old enough, that have been dethroned and routed away, and they're sort of lost kingdom type. And this too, it's a bit samey. So, and then I wrote it down. Actually, another gripe is on page 529 of that edition. These editions here, page 529 of book 3. Apparently, one of the characters, Barlow, said Barlow is not even meant to be there. It's not meant to be there. He's somewhere else. Barlow is a different character that is not there. I don't know, mistake. There's a bit of a mistake there. I don't know quite what happened. Book 4 brings everything to an epic and satisfying conclusion. It's a well finished series. It really is. It's good, solid, sound, complete joyride. Issues I had with book 4. Book 4 is the book of last minute saves. Is the book of coincidences. Is the book of someone is running away, making escape from being a prisoner, and when they get into trouble in the woods, miraculously someone arrives to save the day and rescue them. And that happens a number of times. Too many coincidences, too many people being in the right place at the right time, which without methods of communication, how does that happen? So I think that drags it down a little bit there. But again, the overall feeling of excitement and enjoyment and satisfaction from the series kind of overrode all those things. You go like, yeah, okay, this could have been done differently, but it's good. Then, this book made me think as well. It made me consider the whole soft versus magic system again, because it made me appreciate, and I could see some of the criticisms leveled at soft magic systems. So the magic that you get in The Faithful and the Fallen, it's, magic does this because I feel like it. Nothing is, if you compare it to much harder magic systems like Bringer or Mistborn or anything probably Sanderson writes. I haven't read all of it, but he's the godfather of hard magic systems. magic. The magic is it's sort of elemental. Like people can control the elements and they can make fire or manipulate the winds or something like that simply by concentrating, believing, speaking some arcane words type thing. But it's not very predominant. It's not very prevalent. The magic doesn't really permeate the world. It's just kind of there. And a couple of characters use it, but not very much. It seems to be like a lost knowledge in the hands of the giants who were the ones that sort of used to do it. But I would have been fine, and it would have been okay, because I actually like soft magic systems. It avoids a lot of exhibition and exposition, although you get a little bit of it here. But anyway. But there's another aspect of it here. There's another type of magic which is just simply voodoo. It's voodoo doll. Someone can make voodoo doll of you and they can control you. They can control your mind and make you do whatever they want. And then you go, okay, so and so has controlled so and so person and managed to get them to do whatever they want. Why do we need a big battle? Why do we need to dominate all these kingdoms? Why do we need wars? If someone can just couple up together a voodoo doll of someone and control them and get them to do their bidding and get them to do no matter what. And I went like, yeah, I can see the problem. And in some parts, the soft magic system is there to help you advance the plot or to get you out of situations that you kind of paint yourself in a corner. And how do I get out of here? Well, the magic will do this, because with a soft magic system, you don't have to define the parameters of what it can do or not do. And sort of at any point in time, you can call on it and do some sort of magic to get you out of it. And I could see it happening here. It's not major, but it is there. Okay, that happened. But as I said, really enjoyable. Very well crafted story. Really, like the character work is very good. You don't get like super in-depth character portrayals of people. You don't. But the characters are really likable. My favorite one, Makin, the old wolf, the sort of old shield man, living for revenge to fulfill a promise throughout. It's really good. I liked him. Our main hero, Corban, is okay. I think John Gwynne took his time over the 4 books to develop him from Smith's son into hero, super duper chosen one person. Even though there's a bit of a twist on the prophecy thing, so it's not all super tropey. There's a bit of a twist there, but nonetheless. So you get that. He's okay. He doesn't grind on you. He's very noble, very sort of good character type thing. His sister is a good character. I think his friends, Darth and Pharrell, didn't get as much of a moment to shine, even though they're meant to be with him all the time. But there's other characters, because we follow Game of Thrones style, different points of view characters, from the good guys, from the bad guys. But all of them are very enjoyable. There was not a single character chapter that I went, oh, is this guy? I don't want to read about him, which happened to me on the Powder Mage trilogy. I got there. Check the review if you haven't done so. No, here, every single one of them you want to read. It brings something new to the story. There's kind of different plot threads, but they all come together very well in the end. And even some fight scenes or some scenes, you get shifting points of view. So like, there's a battle, it may start from character A's point of view, and then halfway through it shifts to character B, and then back to A and B again. So it kind of breaks the whole scene into very manageable chunks, and you get sort of shifting perspectives on it. So I think it's a very solid fantasy series, very solid. Nothing new to the table. It's not rocking the world. It's not coming up with any fantastically new concepts. I like the fact that there's a bit more fantasy than I've been reading in the past. So we've got humans, we've got giants, we've got worms, it's kind of dragon-like creatures. There's drakes. A drake is like a sort of giant lizard type thing. he probably doesn't get as much out of them as you could. There's no, but he's not abusing them either. It's sort of, they're there, they play the role, and there's like this wolven, which is your giant wolf type thing. So it's okay. It's nice to get a bit more fantasy back from other series I've read recently. It doesn't feel childish. It doesn't detract from the story at all. It's all pretty well done. And then we can talk about the themes of the book. I think the themes of the book were quite clear for me. So it is a classic tale of good versus evil. Faithful and the fallen. It almost very biblical. The faithful to the God that has kind of the creator that has abandoned the world, and the fallen are the fallen angels that follow this evil sort of dark lord type thing, trying to come back into the world and take over creation type thing. So it's sort of fairly biblical angels and demons theme going on there. But I think there's deeper themes, issues explored there, like choices, choices that someone makes, and if you make a wrong choice in your life and you find yourself walking down a path that you're not happy with, I think I've been there, I think some of us have been there, I think some people have been there, where you find yourself in a place you don't particularly enjoy or want, but sometimes just moving on and pushing forward is easier than making a radical change and trying to set your life on a different course altogether. So I think that's explored really well in the book, and the classic concept of right and wrong, and is something absolutely right or is something absolutely wrong, or does it all depend on points of view, and that sort of thing. I don't know, but to me the biggest theme there was that of choice, and that ultimately you do have a choice, you make your choices, and there are consequences to changing your mind or not changing your mind, and all that kind of stuff. But in summary, I think The Faithful and the Fallen is a solid, I don't know, I'm not going to give it a number because I want to do a video. My next video is going to be my tiering ranking of fantasy books I've read, so I'm going to leave it there. But very good, very solid, very recommendable. And anyone looking to get into fantasy, or just reading a very classic fantasy story, but very well done and very well executed, not perfect, but very well executed, certainly Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne, it's a definite must. Would I, there's another trilogy, I think, set in the Vanished Lands, like 200 years in the future. Would I be interested? I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure right now, or in the next few months, or even next year, I want to go back to the Vanished Lands. And my reason for that that it's a very unoriginal fantasy series, but it's very good. So for me, it has fulfilled my need, my want, my desire. It's made me enjoy it, but there's nothing there to want to keep me going and revisiting it, because there's lots of fantasy out there. There's lots of correct fantasy, and this one was good, but I don't feel, and I really enjoyed it, but I don't feel excited about going back to it. Whereas there's other fantasy worlds I've read recently where I'm curious, I really want to go back, because in the next trilogy is 200 years in the future, different characters altogether, need to get invested again. Whereas I'm a little bit more curious about other fantasy series I've read recently where I really want to revisit those worlds, like in the First Law trilogy world, there's some standalone novels there that I'm curious about and I want to get my hands on those. Or on the Realms of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb, there's some strong characters there that I want to revisit and get acquainted with again. So I want to be doing that. Here, I don't feel that. It's not a slight, it's a personal preference, it's a choice, it's how I feel about it. But, and again, one more time, would I recommend The Faithful and the Fallen book series? Absolutely. Hopefully, I've managed to do a review which is fairly spoiler-free. I've probably left a lot of things unsaid because I'm sort of rambling here. I've got some notes, but just going on around it. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you very much for watching. Please, please, please comment, like, subscribe, spread the word, spread the message, please. Let me know what you think. Have you read it? Have you not read it? Is this making you want to read it? Is it making you not want to read it? I don't know. I would love to hear from you. So this is it. A bit long, but that's me done for today. Until next time, have fun, take lots of care, and I'll see you. Bye.